Can you profitably run Meta ads with a small budget? Yes, you can. And if you stick around, we are going to talk about how to optimize your ads with a small budget. This video will be filled with hard truths and tough realities that we want to make sure you understand before launching your campaign. So, no angry comments below. This is all out of love for you and your business. We work with over 400 e-commerce business owners in our coaching programs, and we have a coaching program designed to help e-commerce brands hit their first 10K a month through Facebook ads. So we work with a lot of brands that spend under $50 a day on Meta ads, but with the right systems and optimization frameworks, their budgets don't stay small. I'm going to be boiling down all the learnings that we have from managing over $13 million of Meta ad spend in the last 6 months to show you how to grow your e-commerce business with a small Meta ad budget. There are 5 topics I'm going to cover in this video. What to expect with a small ads budget, how to optimize a small ads budget, what's our minimum recommended budget, should you even run ads with a small budget, and how to grow your budget over time. So what can you expect if you're running a small ads budget? Well, first, I want to talk about the 2 metrics that are most important for an advertiser with a small budget: average order value and cost per acquisition. Average order value is really important to keep in your frame of mind because typically your customer acquisition cost, or CPA, is directly linked to your AOV. So for instance, if you have a $20 AOV, your CPA is probably going to be far lower than if your AOV is, say, $200. If you're selling a niche high-end product, such as a $160 filmmaking device or $800 horse stable, which both are clients we work with in the Max Profits mentorship, you're probably going to be sitting near a $50 to $100 CPA. Whereas a brand selling t-shirts, jewelry, or plants may be at a $20 CPA. The reason this is because there's a smaller subset of people that are actually willing to spend $200 to $800 on a product. They obviously exist, but there's just less of them. Therefore, you have to pay more to acquire that customer versus someone just buying a t-shirt. Here's the hard truth. If you have a more expensive product, you're going to need to spend more on advertising to acquire a customer. There's just a bigger buy-in, but oftentimes a bigger upside because you have more margin and dollars per order. So next, let's talk about Meta's learning mode. Your Meta campaign requires 50 conversions in a 7-day window to exit the learning mode. So if we do some basic math and assume a $20 CPA, you'll need to be spending about $142 a day to exit learning mode. So what happens if you can't? Well, truly nothing. You have to start somewhere, and pretty much every new advertiser starts right here where you are. And we have seen tons of brands scale campaigns in learning mode. Do results get better out of learning mode? Yes, but is getting out of learning mode required to be profitable? No. The last thing that I want to talk about before moving on to optimizing a small budget, and it's actually going to be the hardest part to come to grips with. We have a saying that we use around the Ecommerce Alley. It's test fast, assume failure, exploit success. The reason I share this is because the odds of your first Meta campaign being a profit printing machine is pretty slim. The first is the worst, but that's okay because it means you can only go up from here. So here's what I beg of you. Don't launch your first campaign, let it run for a few weeks, determine it was unprofitable, and then conclude that Meta ads are not going to work for your brand. Because for every failed ad campaign, I can point to an e-commerce brand that is crushing it with Facebook ads. It takes work and testing, but once you crack the code, it pays dividends. But hey, if you want to make sure that you're not going down this advertising path alone, consider subscribing. We will be here for you. So let's talk about optimizing a small ads budget. So let's say you're selling t-shirts. We see a good CPA for apparel being $20 to $30 on the high end. You launch an Advantage Plus campaign at $10 a day with 3 ads inside of it. How long should it take to get your first purchase? Well, Meta needs time to spend on each ad, test it to different audiences and types of people. We typically say you need to wait 7 days for Meta to get into the groove of finding customers for your ads. Meaning, these first 7 days can be a bit more expensive to get that first purchase. This could mean 2 to 3x expected CPA. So let's just say worst case scenario, you expect to have a $30 CPA, Given 3x higher for the first purchase could mean you need to spend $90 before you expect to get that first purchase. Now, granted, this is obviously worst case scenario, but we would not expect a purchase in the first $40 to $50 spent at least, meaning you'll need to wait anywhere from 4 to 9 days based on a $10 a day budget for that first purchase. Then from there, Meta will be able to find more people like that purchaser and optimize that cost down. But here's the hard part. This is only on one ad, and you've got 3. So say Meta divides your spend up like this: 60% to ad 1, 30% to ad 2, and 10% to ad 3. This means that to get to your minimum of $40 to $50 spend per ad, it could take 8 days for ad 1 to get $50 in spend, and 16 days for ad 2 to get $50 in spend. Meaning that if we take that worst case scenario we talked about, which was 3 times your target CPA, or let's say $90, it could take 16 days for ad 1 to get a purchase. The reason I'm sharing this with you is that often people think that setting a lower budget will actually save them money in the long run. However, here's the kicker. You still need to spend the same as everybody else, just you're spreading it out over more days. So now, after this, you may be thinking to yourself, should I even run ads if I have a low budget? And what should I set my budget to? So let's talk about, should you even run ads? Yes, we believe that in order to grow a serious, predictable business, you need to master paid advertising. You could grind it out with organic, but this is the slow grind. And it could take you years of your life to figure it out. And obviously, time is our most valuable asset. That brings me to the second question, which is, what is our minimum recommended ad spend? Well, to be honest, we don't recommend running a Meta ad campaign under $25 a day. So if we look at the example that I shared previously at $25 a day, if you're expecting a $50 CPA for your first few purchases, you should have 2 to 3 purchases in the first week. This increases Meta's chances of optimizing and finding more people like the one that purchased and getting better over time. Now, the reason you probably want to spend less per day is because you want to have a closer eye over every dollar that leaves your account. However, this is the slow way to advertise. And like I said before, test fast, assume failure, exploit success. If you're waiting 15 plus days to get a purchase on one ad, you will be moving at snail's pace, and you won't be able to iterate as quickly as you need to be successful in advertising. Now, the thing you're probably all thinking after this is, if I start my ad spend at $10 a day or $25 a day, how do I know when to increase my ad spend? Well, unfortunately, I don't have time to cover it in this video, but I made a full video about how to scale an Advantage Plus campaign that I'll put right here. I'll also throw a link in the description. Thanks for watching this video, and I really do recommend checking out this video on how to scale your advertising budget. It's only 4 minutes, and it is well worth the watch.